The car moves very, very smoothly.
However, with our documentary, we're giving people a very deep look into our development processes.
At first, the wind tunnel test didn't go well at all. We all looked at each other in disbelief.
Is the workshop free up there? Is it free? Can you drive through to the wheel alignment station?
The Ruhr region is 100% Brabus DNA. It's the mentality. If you work hard and deliver results, you're doing a good thing. Because people here don't have these, let's say, prejudices or whatever, or reservations when it comes to tackling challenges, they just get on with it. We've always been a good team and still are, just tackling things as they come. Not saying, wait, let's look and see and discuss things to death, but just move forward.
I think it's actually our company culture that's of course shaped by our employees. Most of them are from the Ruhr region, although no longer exclusively. And the Ruhr region has a very open and very direct culture. You see that here too. Good morning, everybody. Right now, I'd like to briefly discuss with you. Sure, we set up a test plan that starts pretty routinely. Who leaves from Bottrop when, and when do they arrive? Our truck is going to leave here at 6 a.m. And then I'd say the rest of the crew at 7:30. Dirk and Mirko in the Sprinter.
The advantage of Papenburg is you get all types of tracks. You get cobblestones, you get concrete slab bumps, you get bad asphalt, good asphalt, sine waves.
We've booked all the test tracks, so above all the oval circuit, the endurance track north and south. Those are the most important. Especially the south one is always pretty good for testing the chassis. I haven't booked any braking tracks. And what we'll also do is, just so you're not surprised, 1 or 2 rounds on the outside of the grounds. And in the end, you just go and drive because there'll be enough lists and they easily fill up. We're just going to drive on those track profiles offering the widest variety of information. Right now, we're in Papenburg, a very large track in Emsland that is used a lot by the automobile industry. The main reason we were in Papenburg was to align the chassis. We were there with our partner KEW that supplies us with shock absorbers and all the necessary electronics. So it was all about chassis alignment. Lance, keep it at about 130 kilometers per hour.
Then the car is driven with the corresponding testing equipment. Afterwards, we collect the data, including the sensations of the driver, the front seat passenger, and those sitting in the back. Their sensations are then thoroughly discussed. What can be improved? What must be improved?
I want to know why it's already bothering me with these low amplitudes.
Like something shouting from the back.
Exactly.
As if it holds you back for a minute. That's probably the long wheelbase to a certain degree, but then again, there's this pulling back. That needs to be reduced.
Yesterday, we electronically adjusted the dampers. We tried harder, softer. How hard do you have to be? How soft?
Now we've got some proper movement. You can really feel the loading bed.
Yeah, that's what you meant, in the back.
It's going like that.
And then we noticed that, in all, we can get softer with the dampers. And that's why we're taking them out and readjusting the hardware around the valves.
That means we've tried out different hardware settings, like valve configurations on the dampers, different data sets, program settings, controls. It's also fundamental. So that during the road test, the car that was driving okay at the beginning actually becomes what it needs to be afterwards.
Today we took a good step forward again. The car moves very, very smoothly, even in the back. That's always an issue with the G.
How dynamic it will be is always something that has to be balanced with comfort. It's really super interesting. I could do this all day. You learn something all day long. Vehicle dynamics is one of the most exciting topics ever. And you're also not in Bottrop, which is also kind of nice.
Jan Gander. Jan Gander has been with me here at the company for several years now. What kind of guy is Jan Gander? It's difficult to talk about your own boss, but Jan Gander is just a kind-hearted, impulsive.
I am such a bad passenger. Slow down.
Unbelievable.
He loves the operational side of the business and would just as soon be involved in the tiniest details.
Jörn is someone who wants to achieve something, and he also listens, even when he doesn't want to hear certain things. But he still takes them in, and that's really what defines him. That he doesn't go through life with blinkers on and wants to achieve a lot as a team.
Come on, just a quick drive.
See? He's like the fun-loving little boy who always wants to drive.
Well, after 2 years of work, we're here today to install the wheels for the first time that we've specially designed and built for the SL.
The inspiration came from the original monoblock 2 wheel from the 80s, which was strongly modeled on the Mercedes Star. Those 3 spokes were quite polarizing back then. There were really only 2 positions. You loved it or you hated it. That needs to be said quite clearly.
My first impression is already phenomenal. The wheel looks even more vibrant in real life, and above all, even bigger. In terms of effect, it's even bigger than it was in CAD, or on all the renderings we did.
Nowadays, we usually have forged wheels milled from solid material in these sizes. This results in a few differences because the manufacturing process is different. As a result, certain configurations can't be represented this way or have to be represented differently using other options, such as with the undercut. And so we went through quite a few design cycles to preserve the iconic design but adapt it to modern times. Which means monoblock design, forged wheel, undercut, freestanding spokes, spokes attached far to the outside of the rim, as well as the openings in the middle of the spoke to get as much out of the lightweight structure as possible and to offer details the former wheel, the monoblock 2, didn't have.
Which means it pretty much stayed the same. You have a 3-spoke design, but it's much more open. It looks much lighter and has lots of complex technical details that the wheel couldn't have at the time.
Yeah, nowadays you'd say badass.
I just think it's super cool and looks fantastic on the car. It's just stunning. Also in 21 and 22 inch, it's really, really cool.
That's what defines a company like ours. We make products that not everyone likes, but that have character. That's important. Some people like this and others like that. Thanks to our huge collection, there are also other designs customers can choose from. But on a Bodo Bushman car, it has to be a mono black 2-wheel.
Now here in our parking lot, we're going to see if the steering wheel is well aligned, whether it stays straight or pulls towards one side when you accelerate or hit the brakes, whether you need to correct the steering.
A very important test, that's what you're referring to, is the wind tunnel test.
For that, we went to Toyota Gazoo Racing in Cologne, a really state-of-the-art wind tunnel. There are 2 of them. One is still in permanent use by Formula One.
So for this test, we have to take the vehicle and place it in this tunnel. The tunnel is exactly what the name says, a wind tunnel. That means it principally simulates how a vehicle behaves at different speeds. So we prepare the vehicle with special mounting fixtures for the wheels. The testing engineers on site firmly brace the vehicle in the locking device. The vehicle then stands on a so-called rolling or conveyor belt, which simulates a moving road with measuring equipment underneath. Then the test engineers have to check whether the vehicle is in the correct position. And then you let the vehicle roll forward a short distance. But vehicles nowadays have this stupid little feature. What happens when a vehicle rolls 10 to 15 meters? It locks its doors.
The key is still inside.
Oh no, it's inside? Right, the usual routine, it locks up.
Suddenly, we all looked at each other in disbelief. One of our colleagues said, "We have a problem." What? The key is in the car. And? The car just locked its doors. Oh. But we didn't know whether the parking brake would lock, when the battery would give out, or whatever else. We had to get the door open again. What else could we do? We had to break into the car, pry it open. We took a plastic wedge, pried the car open in old car thief style, then tried to grab the key with the welding wire and press the button. All of that didn't work. And after what felt like a half an hour, we were all soaked in sweat. 4 or 5 of us wrangling around the vehicle. And then we succeeded in activating the window opener. We lowered the window a bit, and then 5 arms dove into the car and grabbed the keys.
You need a key?
We saved the day.
We'd gotten ourselves into quite a predicament. But luckily, it all worked out in the end. Now we can laugh about it, and it makes a good story.
You have downforce on the front axle, you have downforce on the rear axle. This all has to be in a very well-balanced ratio. We use the term aerodynamic balance.
There's a trailing edge, so we have to play around a bit, depending on which trailing edge goes upwards. We have different heights and configurations, and just tested which variant will be best for us.
This is very important for the driving stability of the car because we're going 340 kilometers per hour. It has to be balanced, you have to be safe, and the downforce on the front and rear axles have to fit together precisely. I can say this much, we're definitely better, although this car is much wider than the convertible, but I won't give away any exact numbers. As an engineer, I admit, I don't want to let people look too closely behind the curtain. Not that I want to hide that we've experienced a setback or can't get something right or other problems. It's actually not that at all. However, with our documentary, we're giving people a very deep look into our development processes. And development processes and technology are know-how. And then I tend to have a kind of protective instinct that rises in me where I say, do I really want to show this? And do I have to? Not many people know this, so why do they need to know? In the end, they're lab experiments that create the basis for everything else. What comes afterwards, and is just as important, is the road test.
The Turbo S drifts even on small alpine passes, which doesn't make things easy and challenges the driver. You do need good driving skills. But we didn't want to overdo it because the car was expected 2 weeks later at the signature night.
It probably loosened because of the drift or the vibrations in general, and the frame was moved in a different direction.
That dent is not going to fix itself.
And both the black and the white car there together.
It's a huge effort. We're talking 900 horsepower and an electronically limited top speed of 340 kilometers per hour.
That's really... wow, guys. I have to be very careful with the gas pedal because it's unbelievably... I'm standing there in Fuerteventura in the dust and wondering how my father would have reacted to the 6x6.